Hello, YouTube. I have a weird idea. Is Robot Monster really a clever social commentary? Now, I noticed in a lot of shows that are comedy, they seem really simple on the surface, but inside they have really deep concepts. For instance, one of my favorites is Dan Versus, and even though it does have a repetitive formula in there, it does have this deep sort of meaning of how he's really the good guy or if he's really bad, or friendships, and lots of clever jokes and modernizations and what people usually associate with cartoons. So it's interesting, and in Robot and Monster, it's the same case. Now, people may look at this, see that looks like a Nick Jr. thing, not like the animation, and like most people, they probably changed the channel when they heard the lyric "Flying Yo-Yo in My Hair" during the theme song. But when you get into the show, it's something more. The premise is that there's a dumb, overly optimistic monster that lives with a smart, overly pessimistic robot. They live in an apartment on a planet where everyone flies in blimps, TV is in black and white, and the entire world is populated by sentient machines and anthropomorphized monsters. It's a weird premise, but is it really something deeper? For instance, there are cases like an episode where Monster's horns breaks off and nobody will love him if they think that he's a monster without horns. People won't like him anymore, and he's worried what his dad will say, so he goes with this sleazy con man who sells him all these products to clear his horns. And at the end, we find out that monsters are not only willing to wear fake horns to look better, but sit for hours in these electroshock therapy machines that will regrow their horns on regular bases. So it's sort of like a play, and it's sort of like a play on people in real life and how they feel subconscious about their bodies, but in a simplified way for children that's done through slapstick. It's really interesting when you think about it. And there's also episodes that play around with that a bit, like one where there's this monster lady called the Beholder, and she's the Cyclops, and because she's popular, she can just point out somebody and say they're the definition of beauty, and everybody loves that person. It's interesting because that's like a commentary on people being famous just by relation or something. And also at the end, all she has to do is just say, don't like him anymore, they're the new definition of beauty, and everyone follows her like sheep. And that's like the funny concept behind it. And sometimes they actually have pretty good lessons, like Robot being willing to trade some chip he has to help someone else's invention in a science fair, so they'll give back the brain chip to Ogo, even though he doesn't like Ogo, but he's just being a nice robot. My favorite example, however, is their Christmas special where they talk about Saint Frosty, or whatever his name is, I forget. But nobody remembers whether or not he's a robot or a monster. And then we find out that there's not only a feud in between robots and monsters, but that people question them living together as roommates, and when they both invite over their families, they fight, and we find out that Robot's grandmother is racist against monsters. It's very interesting when you think about all this deep stuff when it looks pretty lame. At the end, we find out Saint Frosty is both a robot and a monster. It is a lame cop-out, and a lot of the premises doesn't make any sense, like Robot's monster being surprised when they find out he's living with a monster. Like, his name's Monster. They assume that his family would have, like, and that there would be a robot family that had built a child and then named their robot child Monster. It was weird, but I suggest you check out the show because it's a lot deeper, even if it doesn't look good on the surface. And I've never heard anyone rush to its defense, so check out the show. Until next time.